The little-known Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896 is generally considered to be the shortest war in history, lasting for a grand total of 38 minutes. The story begins with the signing of the Heligoland-Zanzibar Treaty between Britain and Germany in 1890. This treaty effectively drew up spheres of influence between the imperial powers in East Africa. Zanzibar was ceded to British influence whilst Germany was given control over mainland Tanzania. With this newfound influence, Britain declared Zanzibar a protectorate of the British Empire and moved to install their own puppet sultan to look after the region. Hamad bin Thuwaini, who had been a supporter of the British in the area, was given the position in 1893. Hamad ruled over this relatively peaceful protectorate for just over 3 years until on August 25, 1896, he died suddenly in his palace. Local British diplomats were not at all happy with this turn of events, and the chief diplomat in the area, Basil Cave, quickly declared that Khalid should stand down. Khalid ignored these warnings and instead started gathering his forces around the palace. By the end of the 25th of August, Khalid had his palace secured with almost 3,000 men, several artillery guns, and even a modestly armed royal yacht in the nearby harbour. At the same time, the British already had 2 warships anchored in the harbour, the HMS Falomel and the HMS Russian. Troops were quickly being sent ashore to protect the British consulate and to keep the local population from rioting. The next day, 2 more British warships entered the harbour, the HMS Raccoon and the HMS St. George. The final ultimatum to Khalid was issued on the 26th of August, demanding that he leave the palace by 9 am the next day. That night, Cave also demanded that all non-military boats leave the harbour in preparation for war. That was the last Cave heard from Khalid, and at 9 am the order was given for the British ships in the harbour to begin bombarding the palace. By 9:02 the majority of Khalid's artillery had been destroyed and the palace's wooden structure had started to collapse with 3,000 defenders inside. It is also around this time, 2 minutes after the bombardment started, that Khalid is said to have escaped through a back exit of the palace, leaving his servants and fighters to defend the palace alone. By 9:40 the shelling had ceased, the Sultan's flag pulled down, and the shortest war in history had officially ended after only 38 minutes. The Germans permitted Khalid to live in exile on the mainland in Dar es Salaam, where he remained until he was arrested by the British during World War I. Khalid died in Mombasa in 1927. With Zanzibar having suffered gravely at the hands of a mere fraction of the British Empire's military power, no further revolutions occurred on the island until Britain relieved it of its protectorate status in 1963.